Hello and welcome back. In this lecture I want to talk about installing the required software for the class. It's going to be very easy. We only need to install essentially one software component. This will come with everything we need to create a C program. And what we're going to be installing is an integrated development environment called CodeBlocks. Blocks. I do want to tell you a little bit about this program, this IDE. It's really useful. We're going to download it. I'm going to go through the process of installing it. But some of the highlights of CodeBlocks are its cross-platform. And that's one of the main reasons I chose it, as well as it being very user-friendly. It will run on Linux, it will run on a Mac, and it will run on Windows. And it's very easy to install. So you can use this integrated development environment to create and write your C programs and run your C programs on any of these operating systems. The actual IDE, the integration development environment, is written in C++. So you don't have any, it runs very fast, it's very efficient. You don't have any proprietary libraries you have to download. The compiler that it's going to use is this Ming Win compiler. This is like a Cygwin compiler that comes on Windows. We're going to be doing all of our examples on Windows, but it's going to be seamless because the same IDE can be used on any other platform. But it is very user-friendly, very easy to use, very fast. It's a typical IDE where you can create projects and do nice things. The other reason I chose it is, besides it being very lightweight, it also has a debugger, which we're going to go through in a whole other section. But this will be helpful when we need to find and fix our errors in our code. You can do basic debugging techniques. It also supports this integrated development environment common features of most IDEs. So things like syntax highlighting. It also allows for code completion, which makes it much more efficient to write code. These concepts will become more clear when we start writing our code. But this is the IDE that we're going to use, and it's very useful and very nice and user-friendly. Now, to download it and install it, we have to bring up a browser and we have to go to CodeBlocks.org. Very simple. So type this link into your browser. And I'm now going to go over to my Chrome web browser. So here we have Google. Let's just type in CodeBlocks. CodeBlocks.org, which is already have here as a link. When you go here, you see the home page. You can read through this stuff to see some of the things I just mentioned. But what you want to do to install this is you want to go to Downloads, which is the Downloads link right here. And then you want to select Binaries on the left-hand side under Downloads Binaries. And then depending on where you're installing, if you're installing on Linux, or you're installing on Windows, or you're installing on Macintosh, you want to select the correct executable. So here, since we're doing Windows, I'm going to select the correct one here. But if you are doing Linux, you just go to the one that you want to select. And for Linux and Macintosh, they usually come as tar files, and you can just extract them. If you need help doing that, you can always ask questions in class. But it's very basic, and it's pretty much explained here as well. But for Windows, what we want to do for Windows, we want to select CodeBlocks that comes with our compiler. So what we want to do is we want to select the fourth option here, CodeBlocks whatever version 16.01 Ming W-setup. So what this is going to do is it's going to download and install Ming compiler, Cygwin compiler for you, and it's very basic. So you'll want to select this option. And to download this, we just have to double click on the repository, either sourcefuge.net or FossHub. So we're going to double click for sourcefuge.net. This will automatically start the download in a couple seconds. If it doesn't, you can select a direct link, but it will ask you where you want to download. And I'm just going to download to my downloads directory, and you notice it's going to be an executable file. So once you download it, we're going to need to click it. But you want to hit save to download it. Now, the executable file is about 79 to 80 megs, so it may take a few minutes to download. But once you have it downloaded, you then want to execute the setup. So now I'm going to transition back to my Windows Explorer to show you how to run the executable. Now I'm in my downloads directory. I'm going to double click what I just downloaded, which is my exe, CodeBlocks exe. We'll double click that, and that's going to run a little wizard that will that's going to run a little wizard that will allow you to install CodeBlocks. The first screen you're going to see is this one. It's going to go through the installation of CodeBlocks. You can just hit the next button. You then want to accept the license agreement by just saying I agree. Here is where you can choose the components you want to install. Depending if you want to get rid of things or if you don't want to have certain things, you can uncheck some boxes, but I would just leave all of these checked. There are some plugins that come along with it. You can leave all this checked. It takes up about 230 megabytes on your hard drive, but you just hit the next button here. It's going to by default install as an x86 32-bit or 32-bit installation. So you say install, and then it goes through the wizard and basically copies all the files. And this may take a couple seconds or a minute as well. And then it will ask you if you want to run CodeBlocks. You can say yes just to make sure that it installed correctly. This will bring up the integrated development environment, and that's basically it. You won't have to do anything else other than that. It's going to automatically detect whether or not you have a compiler. The compiler should automatically be installed along with Minwin that came down with you. So you may see a screen like this for auto detection. You can just say OK. Otherwise, it's going to find it, and you're going to see your startup screen, and you're going to see your development environment. And that's all it takes. This is all the software that we need that is going to allow us to write and run our C programs. So pretty easy. Thank you.